Hi there, it's Sherry. Today I want to look at a restorative pose, and I'm down here on the ground, and this is going to be a series of videos that you're going to be able to pick which one works best for your body. Now, this restorative pose gets called legs up the wall because that's exactly what it looks like. You're going to lay down and have your legs elevated up against a wall, right? I'm going to look at the most basic version here. Something to keep in mind with this one is that when you look at the translation of this pose's Sanskrit name, which is Viparita Karni, it does not actually mean legs up the wall, right? What it actually translates to something as is the Great Rejuvenator. So that to me is like, that is really a pose I need right now. And this is a pose, I wanted to include this as a practice because when I'm having problems with insomnia, this is a pose that actually sometimes helps me settle, feel grounded and ready to sleep. Likewise, some of you know that I got into yoga because I have a ruptured disc at the very base of my spine. So sometimes when I'm having a lot of low back and hip pain from that disc injury, this position is something that can help really settle pain around the sacrum and the lower back and the hips, settles it down really well. So there's so many reasons to do this pose, this shape. And the most classic way is you're down on the floor, up against a wall, is how you start. And you'll notice I've got a few things with me that I'm going to show that can be helpful for this. One of them is a yoga strap, right? I set that off to the side. One of them is a nice soft shawl that I'm going to keep off to the side for putting my head on. And I actually find that my heels, right, they're pretty bony, the back of my heels. And resting against the wall for a long time, I start to feel that pressure right against my heels. So I actually keep yet another soft shawl. I've got a lot of them. I keep that handy and I put it up against my heels and my feet, especially if I'm going to stay in this pose for several minutes. Now with restorative poses, that's kind of the idea. You get all set up and then you hang out there and you let yourself rest. A prop I don't have with me but works great here is an eye pillow, right? Something to just put a little weight on the eyes. Sometimes putting a sandbag, right? The weight right on the forehead, right? Can feel very good in this shape. So all kinds of things you can add to it. Also, I would say an excellent pose for listening to an audiobook, right? Music, anything like that. So I got a mat down here, give some cushion underneath. A blanket works really well too. Blanket you can just kind of slide around on the floor, but my mat has more cushion, so I have that. And what you can see is that I'm scooching up to the wall, and I am quite literally kind of halfway up the wall with my backside, right? And I'm not really on the mat, I'm off the edge, because I want to end up on the mat. So now I roll my shoulder down, right? You see that I'm kind of sideways, and then I roll over onto my back, and I roll my legs up the wall, right? Now, I get those things that I set off to the side. So first, something nice for my head. Gives my neck a little support. My head's not resting right on the ground. That feels good. Now, something that happens to me when I fully relax my legs is this. So that's what the strap comes in handy for. This doesn't happen to some people, right? Some people can just go and let their legs relax and they don't slide off the wall. Mine always slide off the wall. So if I'm going to be here and I want to really relax my legs, I take my yoga strap, which has a nice buckle, and I attach it around the thighs. Right? And you hear I'm actually attaching it. It's pretty snug. It's not super tight. You can see here are my knees up here, these big yellow spots. Here's my hip crease way down here. You can see that I have this strap much closer to the hip crease than the knees. Right? But now watch what happens. Magic. They won't go anywhere else, they'll just hang out there. If my heels start to feel tender on the wall, should have done this before the strap, I take that other soft shawl and I tuck it underneath my heels there. And then I go, and I let my lower back and my sacrum and my belly, I let my chest and my back relax to the floor. I might open my arms up like this cactus arms, right? And if that doesn't feel good, or after a while it feels like that's enough, I like to take and I bring one hand here and I rest it on my belly, and I bring one hand here and I rest it near my heart center. Or I put both hands on the belly, right? If you feel chilly, you could cover up here. But you hang out here for a while. Really for however long as feels good to your body. And then when you're coming out, right, if you've had that strap on, obviously you're gonna take it out, maybe not obviously. And then something I like to do is I bring the very soles of my feet together. Right? And you notice this is one of those yoga poses you can have your socks on. Right? The feet are going to be up in the air. They might get kind of chilly hanging out up in the air. So I like to have socks on when I'm doing this. But now you can see I'm making this bound ankle shape with my legs against the wall. And it's a nice way to just kind of transition out of that vertical up the wall. You get a nice hip opening here. Right? And then you're ready to come out. You're going to roll yourself on out. And roll yourself on up and slide on out of that. So that is the most classic version of Viparita Karni.